Frida Kahlo. You know her face, right? It's one of the most recognized in the world, an icon, a revolutionary, an artist. But beyond the famous unibrow and those incredible self-portraits, who was she, really? Well, today we're going to peel back the layers of the legend by looking at her through the eyes of two people who knew her in a way almost no one else did. And that's the big question, isn't it? Who was the real Frida Kahlo? Was she the fiery, defiant artist, the warm, nurturing homemaker, a political activist? The truth, as it usually is so much more complex and way more interesting. So to figure this out, we've got two incredibly personal first-hand accounts. One is from the great muralist Diego Rivera, her husband, and the other is from his daughter, Guadalupe, who became Frida's stepdaughter. And their memories, they give us two very, very different portraits of the exact same woman. So let's start with the man who would become her partner in art and in life, Diego Rivera. Their first meeting was, well, nothing short of dramatic. Picture this. He's way up high on a scaffold, painting a mural, when a voice shouts up from the ground. And that voice? It belonged to an 18-year-old Frida Kahlo. And let me tell you, she hadn't come to admire his work. Oh, no. She was on a mission. She brought 3 of her own paintings, and she demanded a professional, straightforward opinion. And this is Diego's first impression of her. He wasn't just looking at some young woman. The artist in him was completely captivated. He saw her features as a work of art in themselves, describing her eyebrows in this unforgettable way, as the wings of a blackbird. And then he saw her paintings. He was blown away. He could tell right away she wasn't trying to be flashy or copy anyone else. Her work was real. It had, and these are his words, a vital sensuality and a merciless yet sensitive power of observation. He knew it instantly. This girl was an authentic artist, the real deal. But Frida, she wasn't there to be flattered. She knew his reputation with women, so she cut him off before he could even start praising her. She wanted a straight answer, point blank. Was her art good enough for a career, or should she just find other work? So direct. This intensity, this fire, it wasn't lost on anyone. As Diego started courting Frida, her own father pulled him aside with a warning. He said, "She is a devil." And Diego's simple reply says absolutely everything about what he saw in her and what he was willing to embrace. I know. He saw her stubbornness, her intractability, for sure, but he also saw something else. The first time he visited her home, he found her sitting up in a tree, just whistling. He said her sparkling presence filled him with a wonderful joy. You see, he wasn't scared off by the devil. He was totally drawn to her spirit. For Diego, this encounter wasn't just about discovering a new artist. It was the moment his entire life changed course. As he later wrote, this was a huge realization that would define the next 27 years of his life. Okay, so that's Diego's view. Now let's switch gears completely and look at our second portrait. We're leaving that dramatic first meeting behind and entering the vibrant, colorful world of Frida's home, the Casa Azul, all through the eyes of her stepdaughter, Guadalupe Rivera. I mean, just imagine stepping into this place. The house is painted this incredible, deep matte blue to ward off evil spirits. The air is filled with the sound of songbirds and parakeets. There are long-haired gray cats lounging around, and a spider monkey named Fulong Chang is there to greet you. Every single room is just overflowing with life, with color, with this amazing living collection of Mexican folk art. It was a space that was pure Frida. And the Frida that Guadalupe met in this house? She was not a devil. She was a woman filled with what her stepdaughter calls roguish glee. I love that phrase. It's this playful, mischievous energy. Guadalupe remembers Frida laughing with her cook, her floral skirt seeming to dance as she moved. And this is where we get this fascinating contrast. Where Diego saw this brilliant, almost intractable force of nature, Guadalupe experienced a warm, nurturing figure. Frida was hospitable and affectionate, and she treated Guadalupe and her sister as if they were her own flesh and blood. So how does all this connect to her famous paintings? Well, it was inside this vibrant home that Guadalupe saw exactly how Frida's everyday life translated directly into her iconic artwork. Guadalupe remembers watching Frida unpack fruit from the market, admiring each piece. For Frida, you see, a simple watermelon wasn't just food, it was a total wonder. It held a hidden language, a way of teaching things about life. And that perspective was absolutely central to her art. And this philosophy just comes roaring to life in paintings like this one. The bride frightened at seeing life opened. You can see it all here. The vibrant fruits she admired, arranged with all the other symbols and creatures that filled her daily world. And Frida made this link herself crystal clear. In her studio, surrounded by her great works, she pointed to a basket of fruit and told Guadalupe this very thing. Her inspiration came directly from what was right in front of her: the fruit on her table, the owl in her garden. These were the things that gave her the will to create. So you see, this still life becomes a kind of self-portrait. According to Guadalupe, the freshness of that watermelon and the staring eyes of the little owl, they speak directly to the openness and liveliness of spirit that Frida had at that time. Her life and her art were completely inseparable. So we have two really different portraits, don't we? The fiery, ambitious artist and the warm, gleeful homemaker. So which one is the real Frida? When you put their descriptions side by side like this, the contrast is just striking. To Diego, she was a devil, intractable, and authentic artist. To Guadalupe, she was hospitable, full of roguish glee, and young in spirit. But here's the thing. These aren't contradictions. They are facets of a truly complex, amazing person. And that's really the key takeaway here. Neither portrait is wrong. Frida was the devil, and she was hospitable. She was both. To truly understand her, we have to hold these different truths together and see the remarkable person who existed right at their intersection, way beyond the simple icon we think we know. And all this leaves us with one final big question to chew on. Diego's memory helped build the legend of the fiery artist we all recognize. Guadalupe's reveals the warm heart behind it all. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, for any icon, how much of their story is shaped not by the history books, but by the love, the conflict, and the unique memories of those who stood closest to them.